Hey, I'm Victoria.
I'm Clay.
And this is Merlin's Vault. Today we're going to be covering Warcorns, combat unicorns for hire. This is the first volume and currently the only volume for Warcorns. There is a one-shot that is called Birthday Bash. Don't have that one, have not read that one yet, but I did find that. It does take place in the same universe as Franklin and Ghost, if you're familiar with that series. We are not.
Nope.
That one also has one volume. It is currently in production to be a TV series that is being led by Billy Bob Thornton. So it's one that we should probably pick up before that comes out as well.
Definitely.
So I found this one at, I don't remember exactly which one, but one of the conventions that we went to. We go to several Comic Cons a year, and found this one through Source Point Press. Author is Garrett Gunn. The illustrator is Kit Wallace, and the lettering was done by Dave Lentz. Do we just want to jump right into this 4 issues?
Absolutely. As you can tell,
Okay.
it's very bombastic and in your face. You can see from the comic book cover. And I guess we could just jump into it because, yeah, it starts off very loud and very intense.
Yes.
All right.
First issue within here, learn about Sarge, which is the blue one on the front. And he comes in, he's got really high test scores, but he's like, no, I want to be part of the Warcorns division, which we find out pretty much sounds like the Marines.
Yeah, it's basically the Marine. It's very much in the spirit of Starship Troopers, where they're trying to test and apply for, different parts of the, like, either the Officers Academy or the boots on the ground Marines and the Oorah kind of spirit.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So he meets the pink one and the yellow one.
Here's the pink one.
That's Floater. And then the yellow one is Gunny. Gunny's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. And we'll get one other mainstay by the name of Arrow. He's the hotshot, pretty much Air Force pilot.
They even do say in their chair force, they call him that.
Yep, absolutely, because they just think that he's going to sit at the LZ and wait for him while they do all the hard work.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But each one gets their chance to get some action in and put who's on asses, so to speak.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And with the Starship Troopers, there's a little bit of Full Metal Jacket as well. Because as colorful and inviting as the comic is, there's a lot of harsh language in here. A lot of language that you'd get in like a Full Metal Jacket or other war movie. Know that going in.
This is definitely a mature audience. This is not necessarily for children.
Right. They don't put the expletive. They put the actual language in. They don't put like.
No, they don't buzz it out.
They'll buzz it out. So.
That's all in there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they're pretty creative. They're pretty colorful with their language as well.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Yeah. I think their command leader by the name of the Sergeant Kill, he also conducts a battle mission with them, and one of my favorite insults was "shut your ass chompers," and I think that's pretty funny.
Yes. So I guess I should say part of the reason why I picked this one, it was one that I had read before, and I've been wanting Clay to read it for several reasons. One being, it did remind me of, like you said, Full Metal Jacket, Starship Troopers, both properties that we've enjoyed. And also, Clay was in the Navy, and so I wanted to get his take on some of the military aspects of this. Obviously, he was not part of the Warcorns division, but I did want to get, especially in the background, like the first few scenes in this, how like they're just processing them through, they're giving them orders without a ton of context. And they're just supposed to don't ask questions, go out and just kill. Like that's your mission. How realistic is that?
There are some realistic points in there. I would be in the naval portion or naval branch of the horses. So I guess I would have a little Dixie cup, and maybe we'd be calling ourselves the Seahorses or something along those lines.
I like that.
But There are some familiar things in there. We did have a loading bus as they drop us off to boot camp. One thing that really shot off in my mind is the introduction to your drill sergeant for the Marines, or for ourselves, who's a petty officer or a chief, that would introduce us really quickly to the energy and what you're going to experience in boot camp. And then another thing that stuck out in my mind is they're all standing in a row and their butt cheeks are out and they get poked. And in the military, we called that the peanut butter shot. Me and a buddy would just be on a table with our pants down, looking at each other in the face, and we just both get pricked like, okay, done. And then we would be escorted back to the classroom or wherever we were waiting around. So that part made me want to, was very familiar to me.
Yeah, I say spoiler warning now in effect. If you haven't read it, go read it and then come back and finish watching.
Yeah.
Now that we get past the background, and there are all guys in this so far. We didn't see any females.
Not yet.
No, not yet. They all get to go on leave for 2 weeks. And Sarge, we see him go back to his family's farm. Both of his parents are ex-military.
Yep.
And while he's there, he hears a news report about they are aliens to their planet, but 2 aliens who are fugitives that have escaped and were causing a ton of mischief on a different planet. There were 4 total, but these 2 have now escaped, and they're calling back all of the Warcorns because they're going to send some out.
Yep.
So all the guys come back. The 3 of them come back with their sergeant, and that's when we meet Arrow.
Yep.
Who's going to be their pilot to take them and see what the heck's going on with these 2 fugitives. But on the way, they get stopped because they see this big ship that's just been blown up in the middle of outer space.
I think it was a refueling station.
Yes, okay, yes, refueling station. So they're gonna go out and see if there's anybody left, any evidence, what they can find there. What do they find, Clay?
They find a lot of floating dead bodies. And I don't know if they're human or anything. They just look very sickly and
Yeah, it's kind
worse
of
for
hard
wear.
to tell.
Yeah, worse for hair.
Haha.
I'm just trying to come up with as many horse puns as possible.
Keep going.
And we are not bronies, but this has been pretty fun with all the horse play and horse puns in the book. So they find a bunch of bodies. They also find these bots that have been launched and sent to aid them in their mission to recover the assets, but they also saw the Warcorns as intruders and tried to kill them. And they had a lot of fun blasting these little machines with their big guns.
Yes, they did.
To the point where they were almost like high-fiving, and Arrow's like, you're all gonna need therapy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess that's what I kind of like about the comic book up to this point, because everything is drawn and designed to be super exaggerated 100% of the time. Like, even if they're home, like asking for coffee or hugging their parents, it's just everything's just super over the top.
Yes. Yes.
Which I like it.
I
and
love
their
that.
eyes are crazy.
Yeah, they are. Well, Gunny, he is huge, like the biggest guy there is, and he's not so bright.
No.
And he eats crayons. And
Yes.
I don't know if really that's normal. It doesn't seem like it's all that normal. But he eats crayons, and it's like fueling him. And he is just one of the best shots there is, and is just taking out all of them. And he's just munching on crayons.
Yeah.
He's great. He's my favorite.
It definitely prods and pokes fun at the Marines. The joke there being that Marines eat crayons. I don't know if you knew about that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And different, he eats different colors to fuel the different emotions that he's going through. So he's eating a lot of blue if he wants to be sad, or eating a lot of red if he wants to be angry.
Yes.
And he just had a bandolier just full of crayons. So he's ready.
Yes.
And I guess he's also, whenever they join the Warcorns, they get their horn.
Yes.
With their haircut. And I don't know if you noticed, but Gunny's has got a flat top to it.
Yeah, his does. He doesn't have the full point, so I'm not sure why that is. But
He's not sharp.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. He isn't sharp. He is definitely not the sharpest one there is.
Right.
Yes.
Floater up to this point never wanted to be in the Warcorns. He didn't want to be in the thick of combat. He wanted to be in Pegasus division.
Yes.
He's like, damn it, I want wings.
Yes.
Yeah. And they also have these like little floating little characters with the big googly eyes that float and also shit talk with them during combat.
Yes.
So if they're like give other people the birds, I don't know if you have to blurp these out, but if you give them the birds, you get a little chibi unicorn that's also flipping them the birds. Now you have to edit that twice if you have to.
Thanks, Clay.
So I don't know what those are about. I don't know if we got an explanation of who those little characters are.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe they're like the floating little fairy or the wisp in Legend of Zelda. That's like weird.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. But they also are just going to back you up. They're like your hype man.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, they could be. I'm not sure. So who do we meet while we're on this blown up fuel station?
I don't remember her name. It's like LNF3 or something.
Not quite. She does have it. It's tattooed under her face or under her eye on her face. But she's freaking badass looking. She comes in and I don't know if she's
further
human or not. That's what she looks like. I don't believe she is human because she has different aspects to her. It's DFN3.
DFN3.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's cool. There's something robotic about her. I don't know if she's like a cyborg or what her story is, but she comes in and she's supposed to help them on this mission. She definitely does. She does do
Spoiler, she has big boobs for the people that are into that, but she's also, got a lot of other robotronics and like coils and where her neck should be. Yeah. And she's got like a cool faceplate that comes down if she needs to go on a mission or whatnot. I don't know what the boobs do, but don't quote me on that. But everything about
apparently I need to teach you things.
Everything about an android like this has some sort of functionality to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like thermal grenades or something. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's what all boobs are for. There are thermal grenades.
She's armed to the teeth, is what I'm saying. So, all right. So then she comes, and then Sergeant Kill is very angry about her presence there.
Yes.
Because she's also upstaging him. Look, she's like shooting without even looking.
Oh, yeah, she's incredible. She's even better than all of them.
Yeah.
So they realized that there were 2 escape pods that were at this facility, and both of them are gone. One went back to the original planet that the 2 fugitives came from.
Yep.
They're going to try to head off the one at Earth. The fugitive that was already on its way there totally just goes into the leader, Mr. Sir, and he is this tiny little nerdy looking guy. I just feel like he has like this higher pitched nasally sounding voice, probably like how I sound right now since I've been sick.
He's the leader of Dephilion. I want to call it LexCon so bad because we did go to LexCon, but it's DexCon, and which is like this group of scientists that have developed a company that has enslaved all their people and give them like little implants that make them subservient.
Yes.
And working for them.
Yes. And then it is brought up that like the Warcorns are not cool with the fact that there's slavery on this planet.
Right.
Everybody else seems to have issues with it. So want to clarify, this is not a pro-slavery comic book.
Yeah. And I don't know if the Legion is what all this big military group is not cool with unpaid interns unless it's lucrative, which Arrow says.
Yes, must be very lucrative with what he's doing with this planet. We don't see any of the slaves or any of the people on there except him and some of the other people in his office.
Unpaid interns.
Yes. He gets, I don't know how you want to say it, but it's an awesome scene where Alien, who's kind of squid-like looking, does a whole like face hugger thing and then goes inside of him.
Yeah.
So now we assume that he's being controlled by this fugitive, manages to get the Warcorns to leave the planet.
Yes.
Without them realizing exactly what's going on.
Yep.
So we don't really know what their plans are of either one of the fugitives, what they're planning to do from here, what their whole backstory even is. We don't know any information on them other than just a few snippets of scenes where they're in. It kind of ends fairly soon after that.
Yeah. We don't know what their plan is. We just know that LFN3... DF. Why do I want to say LM?
I don't know.
LMFAO 3 goes to Earth to track the other one down. And she's like, what are you up to? And I guess that's just going to be like the kind of the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where that story, little plot thread goes.
Yes. So like I said, there were 4 issues in here of that, which was great. Then it flips to a 5th issue.
Yep.
And this is where Franklin and Ghost come in. This definitely drawn different art style to it. So this is clearly different storyline. And it says Future Past is what this one's called.
Yes.
And in this one, they are on Earth. Franklin and Ghost are already there, and the 4 Warcorns end up coming to Earth. They end up all dying from what Franklin and Ghost are trying to accomplish.
Franklin and Ghost are specifically looking around this container shipyard. And they're looking for a specific weapon that could help them in Dion? Is that what it is? Tiron. They say they already have a space machete.
Yes.
And whatever one of these containers has is even better than that, so...
Yes.
We have no idea what is happening in this.
No, we don't, because this is just a 1 issue, and we have not read Franklin and Ghost. So I'm hoping that if you have read it, it makes more sense, or there's going to be new issues that will answer some of these questions. But I thought it was a really fun taste of what this universe is like, and it intrigued me, and I wanted to know more.
Okay.
So what was your overall thought on the story?
It had a lot of Starship Troopers vibes, which I naturally like. They can get a lot of stuff like free college if they want through their service in the military. Not unlike what we have in today on planet Earth. I thought it was pretty interesting as far as like sci-fi missions go in kind of like an episode per episode kind of storyline. And then we can get some more clues along the way. I think the action was pretty interesting. I would say that this comic book is not necessarily for me as a reader, just because it is so bombastic and so wild, like it's trying to be really absurd.
Okay, that's fair.
And for me, I'm much more of like I want to see where that story goes, and I think it's just going to be so wild that I'm going to, lose track of certain plot threads that I should have been paying attention to.
Fair.
I don't know. What did you think?
I liked what was given. There was a huge universe that is building up. There's not a ton to the story so far because it is building up something big. I love the universe where I think it's going. I just want more. This was published in 2021 and there hasn't been anything since except for that one shot. So there's nothing further with this actual storyline, and there's just a lot of questions that are still open, and I want to know more. So I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I'd say. What about you?
I would give it like a 3 out of 5. I think it was still relatively enjoyable and an easy read. I did have to go back a few pages because I was, whenever you get like a new science fiction IP, it's really exciting, but you also are trying to remember what the actual words and names of places and people are.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, I just did it again. Dexcom and Delirion. So this is where I'm just, I have to frequently myself go back and forth between pages.
No, that's fair.
But I think if we had more of a storyline, like more issues, I could actually go back and enjoy this one more. But by itself, I would give it solid 3 out of 5.
That's fair. That's fair. What about art?
Art style is really great. I love the exaggeration of all the characters.
Yes.
I was wondering if they were all going to be pretty much the same style of character, page by page, and just a different color or palette swap. But they actually do have their different attitudes and ways of showing what they're about without the use of words.
Yes.
So a lot of their characteristics were very colorful on page. So what about you?
Really, it's the same thing.
Same thing?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I gave it a 5 because I thought it was so fun and different, and to give like unicorns this look.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen a unicorn that jacked holding a machine gun. So I'm like, hell yeah, I love it.
I actually liked it more towards the Franklin and Ghost stuff because they were picking up more of a theme per character and more visual, like, or personal costume and more iconic kind of look to each one.
Do you also think that's indicative of how it is within the military, where in boot camp we were much more, everyone needs to be uniform the same, and you're not really allowed to have your own personality, but once you've been in it for much longer, you'll see that personality come out on people's characters more so. Yeah,
that's the Full Metal Jacket, where you start to notice like different little trinkets inside the helmets, and like cards and cigarettes and like pictures and, you know, different call signs and things like that really make that character stand out. You know, when like Johnny Rico joins the Roughnecks for the very first time, and then some of them have their sleeves that are just gone because they've been doing this for so long.
Right.
And one of them has like a robotic arm.
Yes.
Which is their sergeant. I think that's really cool once you get to that point in their military career. Versus once you first join in, it's like you either survive and become like a really cool character, or you just die early on, and it's like, it's a shame, you know?
Yeah, we don't even really know who you are.
Exactly. And they do that across a lot of military things. Like, I've been a fan of StarCraft and G.I. Joe, where everybody has like their own kind of distinct characterization.
Yes.
Interested in like seeing where it would go from here.
So what will you get for art?
Art style, I would say a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I think when you're doing page by page, there's only one page where you're just having to read across, where it just kind of throws you off for a second. But everything else was like super easy.
Yes.
Especially for me to read.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the coveted overall, to sleeve or not to sleeve?
I sleeve it, and I will also probably eat a few carrots and then kiss it right on the horse lips.
Okay.
Give it a good old patented horse kiss.
And that exactly is?
It's like a...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, so again, I'm gonna need to re-sleeve that after, because you just blew all of that carrots.
Oh, so you can just lock that kiss in like a filter.
Yeah. I'm just gonna lock that in. So I would definitely sleeve that as well.
Perfect.
Yes.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
All right. Well, that has been Warcorns. I'm very interested of if there's ever going to be a Pegasus division comic.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
And I can't wait for Franklin and Ghost, because they were really interesting towards the end. I don't know what they were looking for.
I have no idea.
I think Billy Bob Thornton can really bring it.
Yeah, so we need to grab that one. You all should grab that if you haven't read it, and hopefully the show comes out soon. I'm sure it's still in production due to the writer's strike, which again, we do support. But until next time, this has been Victoria.
This is Clay.
And this has been Merlin's Vault.